Welcome to Spine Chilling Chats podcast, where we like to spill the tea. If you're into the macabre and enjoy hearing about true crime, supernatural, or spooky experiences, pull up a chair, pour yourself a cup of tea, and get ready for some spine chilling chats with Manda and Ange.
Hi to all the spooks out there. I'm Ange.
And I'm Manda.
If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We're so glad that you found us.
Yes, we are.
If this isn't your first time, we're so glad that we haven't scared you off yet.
Yes. Okay, so keeping with the June birthdays with our theme, I have a gentleman. I don't know if I would actually call him a gentleman, but I have a male species of a person. His name is Arthur John Shawcross, born June 6, 1945, also known as the Genesee River Killer. Arthur was born in Kittery, Maine, the first of 4 children. His dad is Arthur Roy Shawcross, and his mother is Elizabeth Betty Ericks Shawcross.
You know, that's another place I'd like to visit, Maine.
Me too, because you know what? It gives off that fall vibe.
Yeah,
and the little town.
I feel like it would be fall year round. I don't know if that's true because I've never been there.
Right, but I think I like the little towns, like Halloween Town, how they have the little town and everything's right there.
Yeah,
and it's all walking, or like in Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, Stars Hollow.
Yes, it just gives off that vibe.
Yeah, I would love to see it.
Or New Hampshire.
Yeah.
That's up there too. Like, I just feel like those places would be like a fall vibe all year round.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. They moved to Waterton, New York when he was young, and he had, you know, kind of a fucked up childhood, as they all do. He was a frequent bedwetter, which is part of the McDonald's triad. He claimed later that his mother performed oral sex on him for several years, starting when he was 7. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Ma. Also claimed that his aunt sexually molested him when he was 9. He also admitted to his first homosexual encounter at the age of 11. It says he was followed by experimentation with bestiality. Yeah, that's
there's
fun.
Another one.
I mean, I guess it's got to snowball into something. But with all these claims and accusations, his family insists that none of it happened and that he had a normal childhood, normal in quotes, normal childhood, and that all of this was a product of his imagination.
Okay, so he's given off the compulsive liar vibes there.
Yeah. Yeah, because if it's not true.
But then it might be true.
It could be. We don't know.
Yeah, they might just be trying to cover their butts, but I don't know.
Yeah, we have no way of knowing. He had a peculiarly low IQ. It was 86, which is below average. But the records show that he got A's and B's.
Okay.
He dropped out of school when he was a freshman. Like, he couldn't pass the 9th grade, so he dropped out of school.
But A's and B's, that's decent.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
That's good.
In junior high, he had sexual relations with his sister. Uh-huh.
Now, is this like a confirmed thing, or is this him making up stories like with his mom and his aunt?
It's probably one of those we don't know things.
Okay.
Because if he made up the other stories, then he probably made this one up too.
Okay.
Or it could be true. If his mom's that kind of a person, she probably made him do it too. Or his dad. I mean, we're doing a
This is all just speculation,
show.
Guys.
Yeah.
We don't know.
We're doing a show on serial killers, so I'm assuming his dad's a bad person. He could be making him do it.
Not necessarily. I mean,
have you met a good serial killer?
Well, I'm not saying that the serial killer is good. I'm saying that I'm sure not all of them come from, you know, bad parents. There's got to be a small
true,
percentage.
We covered one. And who did we cover that had a pretty decent childhood?
Fuck, I don't remember.
I know.
They all seemed like they were pretty bad.
I can't remember. All right. Anyway, he also had a few years of violence and jail sentences, and he received his first probationary sentence in December 1963 for smashing a shop window.
Guess
Probation. That's where it all probably started.
Yeah. Wonder what he was trying to get.
Yeah, like what shop?
What shop were you trying to get into?
Like
Probably a sex store.
Clothes?
Do they have sex store? When was this taking place?
This was back in the 60s.
Yeah, so they might have had.
Or a weed shop.
Yeah, that could be too. Did they have those? They didn't have weed shops back then. No,
they would just go to people's houses.
Yeah,
probably.
People were growing it.
In 1967, when he was 21, he was drafted into the Army. He divorced his first wife and gave up his rights to their 18-month-old son, who he never saw again. He served one tour of duty with the 4th Supply and Transport Company of the 4th Infantry Division in Vietnam. So he went into the Army, gave up the rights to his kid, got divorced, and did a tour of duty in Vietnam. And Vietnam, as we all know, is any war, but Vietnam, we all know, was pretty bad.
Yeah.
So that probably didn't help his case in
His
getting
mental
case. His mental state. Of course, he bragged about the grotesque combat exploits such as beheading mama sons and nailing their heads to trees as a warning to the Vietnamese and, surprise, surprise, engaging in cannibalism.
You know, back when I was in high school, they had that one video that went like viral with the journalist that got beheaded.
Yes, that was when you were in high school?
Yes.
I was not in high school then. Maybe? Well,
no, I was probably freshman or sophomore, so you were probably graduated. Yeah,
I'm not that much older.
You're more than 2 years.
That's true.
You're what, four and some change? So yeah, if I was freshman or sophomore, you were gone.
Yeah, but I remember seeing that video because it was after I graduated when 9/11 happened, so it was after that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But anyways, like my friend and I lied to our parents, and we stayed the night at one of our guy friends' house. Like it was nothing
sexual
like that. Like we were just hanging out, and we had I think we had like green apple pucker. You know?
My God. Those
Anyways,
days.
And so they were like, "Do you want to watch this?" I was like, "Okay," and we watched it, and it was the most awful thing I have ever witnessed in my life, and I wish I had never seen it.
Yes, it is. Besides my dog dying in my lap with his eye popped out, that would be like the second most horrific thing that I've seen in my life.
Yeah,
it's very traumatic.
So for him to have that, like, that would be very traumatic.
I would say so. However, in reality, he never really served in combat position. He remarried on April 22nd, 1972, to a lady who was pregnant with his child, and he was stationed in Fort Sill, Lawton, Oklahoma, as an armorer. Well, I think somebody who takes care of, like, checks guns in and out or something. I don't know. Don't come at me if you guys were in the military and you know what an armorer is. Let me know. And that's when his wife had experienced his disturbing behavior, such as starting fires.
There's another check on the whole
triad list, the McDonald's triad list. The Army psychiatrist said that Shawcross derived sexual arousal from setting fires, another part of the triad. So there is complete with those. Yeah, the bedwetting, the violence, the psychosis, the fires.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the sexual arousal from it. After his discharge, he and his wife moved from Oklahoma to Clayton, New York, and then she would divorce him after he committed these crimes such as arson and burglary.
Good for her.
Right. And I'm not saying his wife's names because I got conflicting information, so I'm just going to say wife 1, wife 2, wife 3. So that was wife number 2. But good for her leaving him.
Yeah.
Yeah. He got a 5-year sentence at Attica Correctional Facility and later at Auburn Correctional Facility. So I'm assuming he had committed multiple crimes that made it to where he served some sentencing in the Attica Correctional Facility and some of it in Auburn. So they must have been like 2 different counties where he committed these crimes.
So he served at one, and then they had him finish his
sentence at another place. Is what I'm assuming. What I'm assuming. He got 22 months for that. He was granted early release in October of 1971 due to his role in a rescue of a correctional officer during a prison riot. So, good behavior because you saved a prison guard. So let's just let you off of your probation for setting fires and committing multiple burglaries.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yep. That's America.
Mm-hmm. He moved back home to Waterton and got a job at the Public Works Department and marrying again for the 3rd time.
I don't understand how these people keep finding a spouse or a partner or just somebody that wants to be with them. Like all these people, all
back to back to back. Listen, I was married for almost 10 years. I was with him for 13. I've been single for since 2015. I've been single and I can't find a single freaking person. Like, how do they find all these people back to back and they're serial killers and I'm not, and I'm a good person and I can't find anybody.
And you're cute too. So if you're single and you have a good job and you're near the area of Southwest Michigan, Amanda is
on the prowl
and ready to mingle.
Mm-hmm. It's hard when you don't like people in your homebody.
Yeah. You kind of do have to
go out in the public,
go out to meet people. But you've tried, and
I have tried,
and they've just been real pieces of shit.
Yes, not that like they were mean or anything, but like not mean like this. Not like we went on a date and they were like mean or something because we just didn't make it to the date.
Yeah,
because they didn't show up.
Standing her up.
Okay, so on that note, hit me up. Hit me up, guys. Hit me up.
Send an email to Spine Chilling Chats Podcast.
Oh, yeah.
at gmail.com.
He was active in Rochester, New York from 1972 through 1989. So he didn't have a really big, sprawled out spree. Like he had a really short window.
Okay.
His first murder took place in his hometown of Waterton, New York, where he killed a young boy and a young girl.
Oh, yeah. I hate it when it's
children. I hate it when it's anybody, but it's worse when it's children.
Yeah. It's particularly a bad situation when it's a child.
Yes. He pled guilty to 1 charge of manslaughter and served 14 years of a 25-year sentence.
How do you get manslaughter for murdering a child?
And he only got 1 count of manslaughter because they couldn't
pin the other one
on him. So he only got manslaughter for the girl and served 14 years of a 22-year sentence. Like, you killed somebody and you plead down to manslaughter and then you only serve 14 years. Like, you murdered somebody. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into the murders. On May 7th, 1972, he raped and killed his first victim, which was a 10-year-old named Jack Blake. That was the young boy, his first victim. He had been sexually assaulted and suffocated, where he said Blake had been bothering him, so he hit him, killing him by mistake. But when he was dead, he decided that he was going to eat his genitals.
Why? Just why?
If this is your first kill and that's what you go for, and he's a young child. Yeah.
No, more importantly, okay, I've seen many a peni in my life, okay? I was a CNA, okay, so it wasn't all just sexual. I've seen old penis, I've seen wrinkly penis, I've seen,
uncircumcised penis?
I have.
Oh my gosh.
I have. It was coincidentally an old penis, but still. And, I'm married, so, never once have I looked at it and been like, man, that looks appetizing.
Right. Right.
As much as men like to think that it is, like, I've never looked at it and been like, man, I bet that tastes good.
Eat it. Right.
Anyways, sorry.
So the thing that got me is that Shawcross lured him into a wooded area in Waterton, and his body was not found until the authorities received a tip by telephone on September 5th. And then on September 2nd, just prior to the bodies being discovered, Shawcross raped and killed the 8-year-old Karen Ann Hill, who had been visiting her mother and in Waterton on the Labor Day weekend. She had been raped and murdered. So my thing is, poor thing was just visiting, and she gets raped and murdered. She doesn't even live there. She was just visiting over Labor Day weekend.
That's rotten luck.
My other thing is, he said he had killed Blake because he was bothering him. However, he lured him into the woods.
Okay, so if you're bothering somebody,
you're not, like, you're out in the open and he's bothering you. You don't lure him into the woods. So you said you lured him into the woods, and you said that maybe he didn't say he lured him into the woods. He just said he was bothering him.
Okay, but if somebody's bothering you, you're just going to walk away from them.
Yeah.
You're not going to be like, hey, come here. Follow me.
And then kill him.
Yeah, like, that makes no sense.
Like, if somebody's bothering you, I'd just be like, listen, you're bothering me. I need my space.
Go away.
Go away.
Yeah.
I don't kill him.
Or I'm going to go away. You know?
Right.
Remove
Walk
yourself.
away.
You're the adult.
Right. So, yeah. He admitted to raping her raping her anally.
Oh.
And then strangling her.
That poor thing.
Yeah. They found mud and leaves and other debris was forced down her throat and inside her clothing. He was arrested the next day. So like, that in itself, having debris shoved down your throat, like...
Do you think she was alive when...
I don't know. I don't know. So what I kept thinking when I was reading this, what I kept thinking was, he's strangling them, which is a personal, like, that's how he gets off on his victims. Like, he strangles them. But maybe it helps them die faster if they can't breathe with stuff in their mouth. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you already can't breathe when you have mud and leaves in your mouth. So then it's easier to kill them.
Or maybe he was just trying to shut them up so they couldn't scream for help.
That too. Yeah, I'm not sure. But that was my theory. Like, it was easier to kill them if they're breathing in that debris. So.
Those poor children.
I know. That's when he was indicted on October 17th, 1972. But he was allowed to plead for a lesser charge of manslaughter for both deaths at the Attica Correctional Facility in November. He was then transferred to Greenhaven Correctional Facility. So I'm still dumbfounded how he got manslaughter when he admitted to at least raping and killing. Like, he raped, and he said he raped and killed, and...
Did he get the manslaughter for the boy or for the girl?
It just says... Sorry, guys, my leg fell asleep, so I got quiet for a second. Yeah, it's in the tingle phase.
Oh, so I shouldn't hit it?
No! It just says that he got the charge of manslaughter for both deaths. So it gets more into that in a little bit. But yeah, I'm thinking that it's that.
Still, how could any jury
say that it's manslaughter when you are shoving leaves down their throat? You're intentionally...
You raped them both. One, you ate their genital. The other one, you raped anally, too.
And shoved leaves down their throat and strangled both of them.
Like, how is that manslaughter?
No idea. The district attorney, William McCluskey from Jefferson County, said that the plea bargain was the right option other than his confession to the police. So not only did he get manslaughter, but he confessed to doing those things. You confess to murder, and you still got manslaughter.
That's bullshit.
Mm-hmm. There was no evidence linking him to the Blake's killing.
Okay, so he got that for the girl then?
He got that for the girl, but also for the boy. They just couldn't prove it. So if you can't prove it and you got manslaughter, try him individually. Try the boy case and try to pin it on him. If not, okay, he's free. He gets manslaughter. Try the girl separately. He intentionally did those things. You could have got murder.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure why they did a plea bargain for both. But again, it was back in the 60s.
I feel so bad.
At this point, it was 72.
Those children's parents.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's horrible.
It's also suggested that Shawcross could have argued that he was under extreme emotional disturbance, and the jury would have likely gave a verdict of manslaughter anyway. I think we're all under extreme emotional disturbance at some point in our life.
Yeah, and we don't go around killing kids.
Right. Like, I've had an extreme emotional disturbance. I know you have.
Yeah.
You know, like, we've been through traumatic things, but we don't go around killing people. Yeah. He served just 14 years, and due to the inexperience of the staff, he was no longer dangerous.
Bullshit.
And he completely ignored the warning signs of the psychiatrist who said that he was a schizoid psychopath and was released on parole in April of 1987.
But that's going to come back to bite them in the ass.
Uh-huh. So he started in 72, but he only killed those two. So when he got out in 87, that's when the short killing spree of, like, he was busy. So he couldn't live anywhere because of his neighbors. They all found out, and they were in protest and would harass him till he moved. Employers would refuse to hire him because of his past, which, I mean...
Rightfully so.
Right. You were charged with manslaughter. I'm not. And convicted. I'm not hiring you. And you're not going to be my neighbor. With that being said, he and his wife moved to Birmingham, New York. Again, they got harassed and nobody would hire him. So then they moved to Delhi. I don't know where Delhi, like the country? Isn't it New Delhi?
I'm sure they didn't move out of the country.
I'm sure either, but
Delhi,
is there
like
a Delhi, New York?
Delaware?
I don't know. It just said Delhi. With a girlfriend this time.
Is it Delly?
Delhi. Delhi. Is there a Delhi, New York?
It's a city in India.
See?
They didn't move to India.
That's what I'm thinking. So.
Oh, there is a Delhi, New York.
Okay, so they moved to Delhi, New York. He moved there with his girlfriend. But again, the residents became aware of his past, and they moved again. And then again, where they moved to next, it didn't say, but they were met with hostility. So in late June of 1987, his parole officer moved him and his girlfriend to a hotel in Rochester, New York. But they didn't tell the authorities where they were. Like, his parole officer, he should have checked in, and they didn't tell the authorities.
That's not good.
Not good. No bueno.
You're supposed to register.
Yes. Because at this point, too, he's a sex offender.
Yeah.
So, but back in the 80s, was there a sex offender list?
Oh, I don't know. That was...
And if so, it was probably on paper. Yeah. So they have to, like, scroll, go through all those names.
Flip.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I came in at the end of the 80s, so...
I was...
Beginning of the 80s.
Yeah, but I was 4 in 87.
I was born in 87.
Oh, boy. So mid-October, they found a more permanent lodging at 241 Alexander Street in Rochester. He would attempt, or he would have sex with the women before or after their deaths. He choked them to death with his bare hands, and then dumped their bodies out of the way out of the way places. So that was his MO.
So he's into the necrophilia too, then.
Apparently. Because there's times where he went back to the crime scene to check on them or do things to them. I don't know. Yeah.
That's uck.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
That's very disgusting.
In March of 1988, when he began murdering again, so he murdered in 87, took a break, started back up in 88.
Well, you gotta
get
your strength back up.
He was targeting prostitutes in the Rochester area. He was captured less than 2 years later and was convicted. So he did all these crimes besides the one in 72 with the boy and the girl. He did all these crimes within 2 years.
Wow.
So keep that in mind about how many people I'm reading off. Like, he was busy.
And it all could have been avoided if...
he just got charged murder the first time.
Yeah.
Or when he was committing burglary and arson, he didn't get let go for good behavior for killing or for saving the guard's life.
Yeah.
Or they found him not dangerous. There's multiple factors.
Times when he could have been kept.
Yes, and they let him go. So there would be 11 murders with the 12th not officially tied to him. The victims are as followed. All right, guys. Ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Dorothy Dotsy Blackburn, age 27, disappeared March 18th, 1988, and discovered on March 24th, 1988. She was found in the Genesee River after a vicious attack which included bite marks on the groin area and strangulation. He was taken in for questioning. He was taken in for questioning for 16 women that went missing or murdered. He denied 5 of them, confessing to the others.
During this time frame, there was a lot of serial killers going about.
Yes, and they targeted prostitutes.
Yeah, so
a lot of them did.
It may not have been his.
Yeah, that's true. It could have been somebody else.
Yeah, because there were a lot of them.
Left and right, man. When he confessed to killing them, he included what the victim had done to deserve what they got.
Like it's their fault.
Right. It's their fault that they tried to steal his wallet, so he killed them. Another one made fun of him, so he killed her. Another one had nearly bitten his penis off.
Good.
I know.
Good for her.
Yes. But it was her fault, so he killed her.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm sure she just shoved it in her mouth.
Right. I'm sure she just was like, hey, well, maybe she did though because she is a prostitute.
Sex worker is the PC.
Sex worker. And then other victims that he killed, he blamed them because they reminded him of his domineering and abusive mother. So once he started hitting them, he couldn't stop.
Yeah.
And ended up killing them and strangling them.
Okay, but that's giving off Christian Grey vibes. The going after
your mother.
What looks like their mother.
Yes. Yeah. But not as sexy.
No,
not at all. Not in a good way.
No. Well, that whole 50 Shades is only sexy because he's rich. If he was
in
poor, yeah,
lived in a rundown house,
yeah,
it would be
a whole different movie.
It would be, what do you call it? Spousal abuse.
Yeah.
It would be domestic violence.
Would not be good.
No. All right. So the next victim is Anna Marie Steffen, age 28, disappeared July 9th, 1988, and discovered on September 11th, 1988. She died of asphyxia, and her body had been dumped in a similar manner to Blackburn's corpse. Her body was found far from the original murder scene, so I'm assuming that he got charged with 11 instead of 12 because her body wasn't by the original murder scene, so they couldn't pin it on him because it wasn't his MO.
Yeah.
But murdering her with the asphyxia was. So, I don't know. All right. Dorothy Keeler, age 59, so she's the oldest victim that he had. Disappeared July 29th, 1989, and discovered October 21st, 1989. She had been asphyxiated and practically decapitated. Also, she died from having her neck broken from being choked.
Oh,
so then
that's some force.
Yeah.
If you break your neck while strangling.
Yeah. And then practically decapitated her. Patricia Patty Ives, age 25, disappeared on September 29th, 1989, and discovered October 27th, 1989. She had been asphyxiated and found under a pile of debris. So again, with the debris, or he was just too lazy to bury her. That's just my thought.
Yeah.
I mean, killing is hard. So you don't have time to dig a grave.
No.
It's exhausting.
I'm sure it is, actually.
It probably really is.
Because, you get...
taking all that force and that adrenaline.
Yeah, once that adrenaline leaves your body, you're going to be exhausted.
You need to take a nap.
Yeah.
June Scott, age 30, disappeared October 23rd, 1989, and discovered November 23rd, 1989, so a month later. She was not a prostitute or a drug user, and she was found on Thanksgiving Day. So that possibly could be the 12th victim that they couldn't tie to him because she wasn't a prostitute or a drug dealer, so it didn't fit his MO.
She didn't even get Thanksgiving dinner.
No, she didn't.
That's a shame.
And to be found on Thanksgiving and telling the family. Like, that's awful.
I can imagine. You're just trying to watch Macy's Day Parade.
And the police knock on your door and say, I'm sorry, your daughter's dead. Or your wife. Or whatever.
Your loved one.
Yeah. She had been strangled and sexually assaulted anally and mutilated after death. Her labia was removed and she was gutted from throat to groin like a wild animal. Yeah. Yeah. He claimed that he mutilated her body after killing her as a kind of favor that he extended to her so that she would decompose faster. She's fucking dead. Like, it doesn't matter to her.
She don't fucking care how long it takes her to decompose.
Right. Right. Like, so I'd like to keep my labia, please. And
maybe he wanted to fry that up, have some tacos with his...
Maybe tacos
with his wiener.
With his taco. Marie Welch, age 22, disappeared November 5th, 1989, and discovered January 5th, 1989. I couldn't find any information on her. They didn't give any. Frances Franny Brown, age 22, disappeared November 11th, 1989, and discovered November 15th, 1989. She had been beaten and strangled to death. Kimberly Logan, age 30, disappeared November 15th, 1989, and discovered November 15th, 1989. So she got discovered the same day.
Wow.
She had been brutally kicked and beaten. Dirt and leaves were crammed down her throat, much like Shawcross did to the 8-year-old Karen. Yeah. But at least she was found on the same day, and she didn't have to sit there and rot.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the bright side of things.
Yeah, I guess.
Elizabeth Liz Gibson, age 29, disappeared November 25th, 1989, and discovered November 27th, 1989. She was found strangled to death. Darlene Trippy, age 32, disappeared December 15th, 1989, and discovered January 5th, 1990.
Okay.
And it didn't give information on hers either, but apparently, he probably strangled her.
Yeah. Probably a little bit of rapage going on.
Oh, I'm sure. June Cicero, age 33, disappeared December 17th, 1989, and discovered on January 3rd, 1990. She had been mutilated post-mortem and sawed practically in half.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
I wonder why some, like, he just goes all crazy.
And some is just strangling.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they all involve rape.
Yeah, that's my
and strangling, but like, why go the extra
cut
step
them in half
to decapitate them or cut them in half or
remove
gut
their
them.
labia?
Yeah.
Is
what's
that
going
when
on
he's having a really bad day?
Right. Somebody really pissed him off.
Got some anger built up. He needs to release.
Right. Well, I do, but I don't go around killing people.
No. If you want to saw somebody in half, become a magician.
Right.
Okay, it's legal then.
Right. And if it doesn't work out, you to just be like,
you
oops,
just
it was an accident.
No.
You just disappeared.
You're a magician. You just disappear.
Yes. Felicia Stevens, age 20, disappeared December 28th, 1989, and discovered December 31st, 1989. They didn't give any information on her. But again, probably sexually assaulted, strangled, all that good stuff that he was doing. And I say good with quotation marks because
none of this is good.
None of it's good. They were all murdered in Monroe County except for Gibson, who was killed in the neighboring Wayne County. The retired detective Robert Keppel argued that the detective's investigation of the case over-relied on the concept of modus operandi at times, searching for multiple suspects due to a small difference in the profiles of each victim. Because they didn't all
fit.
Like, I'm sure they all got strangled and they all got sexually assaulted, but like the one getting sawed in half, the one being gutted, the one being decapitated, the one being mutilated. There's small differences.
Yeah.
That they, wasn't thinking it was the same person. And again, that was a big time for serial killers, so it could have been multiple people that they thought. He was arrested January 5th, 1992, days after June Cicero's body was discovered. They did an aerial surveillance, and they arrested Shawcross because his dumbass had been spotted by an eyewitness and the police surveillance team standing by his car urinating on a bridge.
Really?
Over the Salmon Creek.
Really?
Where Cicero's body was found. Right. Like, hold it or don't pee by your
where you
fucking
just dumped
victims.
the body.
Yes.
Like,
you dumbass.
when you gotta go, you gotta go, I guess.
November of 1990, he was tried for 10 murders in Monroe County, which he pled not guilty by reason of insanity.
I mean, but I get it, because if you're doing this shit, you are most certainly insane.
Right.
But you still know right from wrong.
Exactly.
So you need to go to prison anyways.
Right. So I guess I get that, but no.
Yeah.
That's a cop-out, too.
Yeah.
With the testimony of forensic psychiatrist Dorothy Lewis, he had brain damage, multiple personality disorder, and post-traumatic stress disorder, and had been sexually abused as a child.
But, okay, is that what his PTSD is from? Or is
possibly.
Or is he still claiming the Army?
The Army. It didn't specify.
Because I would hope that they would research and find out that he didn't really experience that stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. So he was declared sane and was found guilty of the 10 instances of second-degree murder.
So, again, why second degree?
No clue. No clue. Like, you confessed to all this. You were found guilty of 10 murders. So
I just
why?
Don't get it.
Yeah. For which he was sentenced to 25 years for each count, with a total of 250 years of imprisonment. A few months later, he was taken away to another county to be tried for Elizabeth Gibson's murder. Rather than claim insanity this time, he just pled guilty.
Good.
And received a further life sentence. So another life sentence.
Good. I know that at this point they don't really matter.
Right.
Because he's going to be
prison.
dead before he ever completes any of his sentences.
My thing, too, is he was in prison, but they never once brought up the death penalty. So I wonder if the death penalty was off the table back then. Because it's, it's such a controversial thing that it's humane, it's inhumane.
Well,
do we have the death penalty? And different states have different laws.
Yeah.
So
maybe New York doesn't have the death penalty.
The psychiatrist said that Shawcross would turn into an internal personality named Bessie.
Okay.
Which, if you remember,
wasn't that his mom?
His mom's name was Elizabeth Bessie or Betty Shawcross Eric Shawcross. So that goes back with the girls reminding him of his mother, and that's who he would turn into, as Bessie, so he claims, and murder these people.
Okay, so I just looked it up. New York does not have capital punishment. The last execution in New York was in 1963. So
okay, so the death penalty was not there.
It wasn't an option.
Okay. So this time, because he claimed the personality that he turned into, they wanted to institutionalize him rather than have him being in prison. So I guess I could see that. But however, either way, he needs to be put away. If he gets put in jail, he's probably going to die anyway, because people are they all fight, they all attack each other. But if you're in a crazy house, you're in there with crazies, and who knows what could happen there either.
I'm fine with him going to a mental facility like that, as long as, regardless of whether or not he gets better,
are they going to let him go?
Yeah, if he either has to stay in that mental facility for the rest of his life, that's fine.
Right.
Or if once he's deemed sane, he goes to prison afterwards, right. I'm okay with that. But if they're going to release him, that's no bueno.
Okay. Yeah. No. Criminal profiler, FBI agent Robert Kessler reviewed the claim that he had post-traumatic stress disorder resulting from the war. So that's the answer. So
okay. So that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Because that didn't happen.
They found out that with more time that they had, not researched him, but looked further into his, with these atrocities, that it was untrue. Because he didn't serve in combat.
Yeah.
The psychiatrist Dr. Park Dietz said that Shawcross had antisocial personality disorder, which was later determined that he had a cyst that was pressing on his temporal lobe of his brain, which was scarring on his frontal lobes, which is responsible for decision-making and self-control.
Okay, but that's a legitimate thing, though.
It is, because when, people have tumors, it can affect their eyesight, or it can affect their speech, or it can affect their motor functions and things like that.
When you fuck around with the brain, it can do
So they're trying to blame it on the tumor. That's why he's a serial killer. That still doesn't make him insane. That's a medical thing.
And that still doesn't excuse him for what he did.
Right.
Because whether or not he meant to do, whether or not he did it.
Right.
It's still
murder.
Murder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Regardless
intentional
of why.
Unlike Blake, intentional or not, because he said that he hit him and accidentally killed him. Whatever. In 2003, when he was interviewed by British reporter Catherine English, which cracks me up because she's British and English, and her last name's English. I just thought that was cool. For a documentary on cannibalism, he bragged about slicing and eating the vulva of 3 victims. But he refused to discuss his earlier claim of eating the genitals of his first victim, Jack Blake.
Why? Why suddenly so shy?
Right. Like, you are over there eating labias.
Yeah.
So why not just say you ate a penis? Because you don't want to be known as gay or bisexual or whatever.
But you still raped this little boy, so
it doesn't matter.
Eating his penis is the least of your troubles, okay?
Yeah. And at this point, it doesn't matter. You're a serial killer.
You done fucked up.
You're over, yeah. He was in prison at the Sullivan Correctional Facility in Fallsburg, New York, where he was until he died. He was 63 years old. He was complaining of leg pain, and on November 10th, 2008, and was taken to the Albany Medical Center, where he went into cardiac arrest and died shortly after.
Oh,
he was pronounced deceased at 9:50 p.m.
What a shame.
Yeah. So that was Arthur Shawcross. He's, a different individual. I have to also mention that he would kill prostitutes, but he was also a regular at getting the prostitutes and actually having sex with them and letting some of them go. And he went by the name of Mike or Mitch. It was also discovered that he had an extra Y chromosome, which some have suggested. There's no proof if that makes a person more violent. They did find the cyst, as I stated before.
Okay.
Behavioral seizures would happen, where he would display animalistic behavior, such as eating the body parts of his victim. So I guess the tumor also made him act like an animal, and that's why he ate the body parts. I'm speculating. I don't know. But I did watch the YouTube videos that you sent. The dude is yuck. He blinks a lot, which is a medical issue. Like it's I can't remember what they called it, but he was being interviewed, and the reporter was like, okay, so I'm just going to make this up. So you killed Jenny in 1963 by strangling her. And he says, we're not going to get into details. Now, my problem with this is you already admitted to murdering them. You admitted to strangling them, to sexually mutilating them, to sexually harassing them. Why all of a sudden don't you want to talk about it? And it was like recent. Well, you know what I mean? Like before his death.
Huh.
Why hide it now?
I don't know.
I have no idea. So, yeah.
Sheesh.
Yeah. So, that was Arthur Shawcross.
Well, thank you for that.
Yes.
I'll be keeping my labia
I would
close
like to keep
to
my labia and my vulva. Yeah. I want to keep all of those. Thank you.
What a weirdo.
I think they're all weirdos.
Yeah, I don't understand, like, how people get this way. Like,
I don't have any urge in my body to kill somebody.
I've never once in my life been like, man, I am so mad, or because a lot of them aren't even like for anger. They actually get pleasure out of it.
Right.
I have never experienced anything like that to where I would even think about killing somebody.
Okay, first off, I wouldn't think about killing anybody, but second off, I wouldn't get pleasure and get off and like orgasm from killing somebody. So what is wrong with them?
But some people have that, not killing people kink, but like the strangulation, like they like to be choked during sex, and the BDSM, that kind of thing. Some people are really into that.
But to go as far as killing them and getting off on it, well, that's different. Yeah. That's going a little too far. Like, yeah.
But maybe the line got blurred. I don't know how close that line is because again, that's not my cup of tea. But
right,
it may be somebody else's. But I don't know how close. If
my parents aren't listening to this, I get into that a little bit, but it would never go. Far into it to where it could potentially be harmful.
Yeah.
Like, okay, spank me a little bit or something.
Okay, that's totally different.
Choke me a little bit.
Okay, I've never been choked.
But not to the point of like for real, and I wouldn't get off if you were choking me so hard that I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah, like not like that.
If you choke me, like I'm coming at you.
Right. I'm going to start fighting, throwing fists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a good time for you.
No, not at all.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, some people are just fucked up individuals.
Yeah.
And there's no rhyme or reason. They try to blame it on childhood, but like I said, not every serial killer had a bad childhood.
And not every person that's had a bad childhood has
a serial killer, has killed anybody.
Has gone that route. So you can't always use that as an excuse.
Nope, not at all.
Yeah. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. I know I did. The kind of
right as much as you really can.
If you guys have any spooky stories you want to share with us, we want to do a whole episode where we share your stories. So once we compile a big batch of those, we'll go ahead and read them to you guys.
And you can stay anonymous. If you don't want your name mentioned, just put that in there and we will omit the name, or we can change it.
Yeah, whichever you prefer. So send your stories into spinechillingchatspodcast@gmail.com. We also have a website up and running at spinechillingchats.com. We got merch on there too, so buy some and support us.
Yes, support us, please.
There's some cute stuff on there, so take a look.
And on the website, you can also contact us with your spooky encounters, with your name, your email address, and then put the message in there. So that's how you can send them to us. It's on the email, or it's on the website.
Okay. Yep. Mm-hmm. And there's also a little bit of bios on us, so you can get to know us a little bit.
And we have to specify Spine Chilling Chats is spine-chilling.
Yes. Chats.
So don't forget that dash in there, because I looked up Spine Chilling Chats just to kind of Google, and I came up with something else. Not anything bad. No. But like it was a different
website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Hey. Well, thanks for listening. We hope you come back, and we hope you
keep it spooky.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Welcome to Spine Chilling Chats podcast, where we like to spill the tea. If you're into the macabre and enjoy hearing about true crime, supernatural, or spooky experiences, pull up a chair, pour yourself a cup of tea, and get ready for some spine-chilling chats with Manda and Ange.